Guys, welcome back to Beautiful You. I wasn't gonna film a video today, but I have just finished my housework. And it's Bank Holiday Monday in the UK, so the 2nd of January, and I'm not doing anything today, so I thought why not get in front of the camera and do a video for you. And a video that I thought would be a good one to do back when I first started my channel was filming how I do my foundation, sort of my foundation routine, different products that I use, how I use them, why I use them, because I think there is a lot of confusion out there as to what foundation suits a specific certain skin type, and also how to contour, what blush to use, what day cream to use, all of those different things, and I'm going to talk about that in this video. So if you'd like to see how I do my foundation routine, you just keep on watching. So now that my hair's out of the way, we're going to get started. The first thing that I do is I cleanse my skin, and my favourite product to use is this. It's Clean and Clear Deep Cleansing Lotion, and it's for sensitive skin. And it's just like a toner, really, that just cleanses the skin of any impurities, any dirt, any leftover makeup, all of those good things. It's really nice as well. I mean, I have washed my face today, but as you can see, it did get off quite a bit of grime. Next thing is a face cream or a day cream. The one that I've been really enjoying using at the moment is this one. This is by Simple, and it's their Regeneration Age Resisting Day Cream. It has an SPF of 15, which is perfect for the daytime, especially this time of year. This is a drugstore brand. You can get it at the supermarket, at Sainsbury's, Asda, wherever else. And yeah, it's cheap and it does the job. But if you have oily skin, you might be better opting for their lotion. I know that they do a nice light lotion, which is going to sort of hydrate your skin but not leave much residue. Next product that I'm going to use is my under eye cream. So I've been using the Benefit Eye Cream, which is called It's Potent, and I've loved it. It's very soothing under the eyes, especially if you find that you have quite puffy under eyes or dark circles. It's really going to help that. I find it to be very hydrating. And I think it's good. It helps my concealer not to crack under my eye, because I hate that, and that does happen this time of year. I'm now ready to sort of start with the foundation aspect of this video, but I'm going to go in with this. This is the Honey Bronze Highlighting Dome by The Body Shop, and I love using this to give my skin a really nice glow under my foundation. So what I do is I put it down my nose, high points of the cheeks, forehead, and a little bit. Because my skin's very dry, I quite like to just give it a little bit of extra glow where I can. And this I've found to be a really good way of doing that. Now onto the all-important foundation. This is something that I wanted to talk a bit more about in this video, because the amount of times I see girls picking out foundations and they've got dry skin and they're choosing a matte foundation, or you know, any other crazy combination you can think of, and they're picking it out. It drives me nuts, and that comes from a lack of understanding of what foundations are right for you. So what I would say, the general consensus is that if you have dry skin, you want to avoid matte foundations. The idea behind a matte foundation is that it's going to set on your skin and dry to a matte finish. So if you've got dry skin, it's going to really irritate your skin. It's also going to draw any attention to any dry patches that you have and just sort of bring them out for the whole world to see. So you want to avoid that. If you've got dry skin, you want to go for something a bit more dewy, a bit more glowy, that's got a nice dewy finish over a matte finish. Some really good drugstore brands like L'Oreal, for example, their Lumi range, that's a really good range for dry skin, because again, the finish of it is quite dewy, but you can also set it a bit with some powder if you think that it's going to get too oily in the T-zone throughout the day. Just set it with a bit of powder. You've got the dewy finish and you're not too oily, so you've got the best of both. If you have oily skin, this is where you're going to want to opt for a matte finish. finish. So you're going to want to use a good primer that's an oil controlling primer. You can put on your foundation, it's going to set, and you can even then go in with a powder afterwards. I would only suggest a little bit, maybe just to set your under eye concealer, and that's just going to help it not to move throughout the day. If you have combination skin, I would suggest maybe mixing foundations if you feel confident enough to do that. Otherwise, I would opt for something in the middle, so maybe a demi-matte foundation, and then use some powder in areas where you think could really get oily throughout the day, and the rest of your face just leave it with the foundation and no powder. So I would say that those are the two different bits of advice I would give to people with different skin types. So as far as different formulas of foundation go, you can get powder foundations, mineral foundations, which are pretty much the same. You can get cream foundations, and you can get liquid foundations. You can get tinted moisturizers and BB creams. Which one is best for you? Well, I think the best way of figuring it out is to go to a counter and ask them. I would definitely suggest Estee Lauder because they have a huge range of skincare items. So they're not just a makeup cosmetics company, but I mean, they have their advanced night repair cream, they have excellent day and night creams. So I think that they're really good if you want to get some advice on what skin type you have and what foundation would be best for you. Today I'm going to be using the Bobbi Brown cream foundation stick. This I actually featured in my Debenhams haul, and this is a cream foundation. So it comes in what I suppose maybe more mature ladies might remember the years of Pan Stick, and it's very similar idea to that, only not as hideous. This is a really lovely foundation. I've already said a few times, it builds up to about medium coverage. You could get it to full coverage, I have no doubt, but I think that this is a really good foundation, and it really helps me to keep those oils controlled in my skin. It's not too dewy for me. So what I like to do is go in with that, and I will just put it anywhere where I think I need it. So chin area and a little bit above my head. So that's it for application. I'm now going to use a brush. That's another thing that I get asked quite often, what brush should I use? So there's obviously the traditional flat foundation brush, which I think is good for applying liquid foundations, but I think otherwise my ultimate favourite has to be a flat top kabuki brush. This is by Sigma, which is an American brand. You can purchase this on Amazon, but it's not available to buy from Boots or anywhere like that. But this is great because it works like a buffing brush. Real Techniques have a stippling brush and an all-over face brush that kind of is the same idea, where you're buffing it into your skin. With this foundation, what I like to do is stipple it in. So stippling is where you would just pat it on, and what you're doing now is you're working it really well into your skin, but you're not moving it about too much, which is what I like to do. Now that we're done with that, I'm going to go in with my concealer. So I have a few things to say about concealers. First of all, you should have two concealers. You should have one for your under eye area that should be 2 shades lighter than your skin tone, and another concealer that's the same shade as your skin to cover spots or any redness in the face that you'd like to conceal. The reason behind this is if you start to apply a really light foundation that's meant for your under eye all over your face, you're going to see patches of light concealer against the more darker shade of your skin tone, and it's going to look like a patchwork quilt. You want to avoid that. Again, also, if you were to use a concealer all over your face that was the same shade as your skin tone, the results might not be as bad, but you're not going to get that beautiful brightness under your eyes that's really going to bring out that feature of your face. Eyes are the windows to the soul. I'm kidding, but your eyes are really important, and you're always working to enhance those areas of your face that you want to enhance, and the eyes is no exception to that rule. So get a lighter foundation. They can be the same brand, and then just mix and match. So we're going to start with this one. I like to use the Naked Urban Decay Skin Foundation in the shade Light Warm, which is, like I've said, 2 shades lighter than my skin tone. And what I like to do is just dot it under my skin, a little bit there and there, and that's just going to help to lighten that area. The best way of blending out foundation, and I don't know how many times I've said this, is with your fingers. It gives you the most natural finish, and it's also very good for your under eye area, not to be pulling it around with a brush or anything else. Tapping is very, very gentle to that area of your face, and it's just going to help to blend that in seamlessly. Then what I like to do is to take that same kabuki brush, just make sure that all the area sort of under is well blended as well. And again, I'm just doing the stippling motion because I don't want to move that product around. If you tap or you stipple with a brush, that concealer is going to stay there. If you start doing this, it's going to move it into the wrong places. If you have oily skin at this point, you'd probably need to set your concealer. I don't, so I never do. And actually the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer is a demi-matte finish anyway, so it does set to a certain extent. Next up, I'm gonna take this concealer, and this is my Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in number 20, which is Sand. And this I would use to conceal any spots or blemishes on my skin. And we're done with the concealer. Again, at this point, you would need to set your concealer if you have oily skin. I don't do that because I don't have oily skin. I'm now going to move on to contouring and bronzing. Contour and bronzer are not the same thing. This is something else that I think people get really confused with. A bronzer is something that you would use to give yourself a sun-kissed glow, to give yourself that all over sort of tanned look. A good example of a bronzer would be the Betty Lou-Manizer by the Balm Cosmetics, and instantly you can tell that this would not be an appropriate contour product because first of all the colour's off, it's way too warm, and second of all it's got a lot of shimmer and a lot of glitter in it, and if you were to put this as a contour shade, it's going to reflect light out. The idea of contour is that we're creating a shadow here to really structure our face and to slim down our face. This wouldn't be an appropriate contour product. However, if you were to put this maybe on the cheeks here, along the nose, down here, chin area, a bit on the forehead, you're going to give yourself a really nice sun-kissed look. If you do that, I would suggest going very, very lightly with the contour because you don't want to look too muddy with the different shades going on. But this is a great bronzing product. Contour products are a little bit different. They're generally a lot cooler toned, so not as warm as this. A good example of a good contour product would be the Chocolate Bronzer by Too Faced. So this product, you're going to instantly tell that it's a lot cooler in shade to the Balm Cosmetics one. I think you can tell immediately that's a lot more orange and that's a lot cooler. Another really good product that I love and that I have used pretty much the whole of 2016 is this. This is the Bronze and Glow palette by Charlotte Tilbury, and again that contour shade you can tell is very similar to the Chocolate Bronzer by Too Faced. It's very cool and it's going to look really good in the contours of your face. The product that I'm going to use today is a little bit different, and it is a little bit more orange than the two I just showed you. It's this one. It's a bronzing base, so you could use this to create sort of that sun-kissed glow, but I think it works quite well as a contour product. As you can see, that's definitely cooler, that's a little bit more orange, but I would say they're pretty close. The contrast is not as great as it is with the Betty Lou-Manizer for sure. But we're going to get in, I'm going to show you how to use this. So with it being a cream product, it's very natural. That's going to work in our favour when it comes to blending it out. So I'm going to take this brush here. This is by Spectrum and it's the A04 brush. Perfect for contouring because it's got that tapered top, which is just going to nestle really well in that area of the face. So I've got some on my brush and I'm going straight in. And then that's it, you just leave it like that. No, you don't. So You never ever leave a product like this. That would be like putting on my foundation with my fingers and then just kind of streaking it and leaving it. You always need to go back in with a buffing brush of some sort, and the best thing to do it with, I think, is the same one that you put your foundation on with. Still got a little bit of the foundation on it, which is going to help it really blend in really well. So what you want to do is, as you can see, I've got this hideous edge. You can see it's very muddy, very uneven. So I sweep up like that and then just, again, stippling motions. Can you tell a difference? I don't know if it's as bad on that side as it was on that side. And that's it for the contouring aspect of it. So it's really just two things that you have, well, two, not four. Two things that you have to remember is that the contour is sinking things in and highlight is pushing things out. So, speaking of highlight, the best highlight that I've ever used is the one by the Balm Cosmetics. I think that their products are amazing. They're so pigmented and they last for such a long time. Just as an example, I've been using this pretty much every day for a year and I've just hit pan just there ever so slightly. It's so pigmented, you only need a tiny amount, and I stress a tiny amount. Obviously it depends what look you're going for. Maybe for an evening look, a little bit more highlight is really nice, but definitely day to day, don't overdo it. So there's another highlight that I love as well, and that's this one here by Charlotte Tilbury. So the only difference I would say between this one and this one, I mean, they look pretty similar, is the finish. I would say that for the Charlotte Tilbury one, it's a lot more natural, a lot more sort of candlelit glow, glowing from within kind of finish, whereas this one is a little bit harsher. Not that it's bad or in any way, it's definitely not the same. But for today, I'm gonna just stick to the one by the Balm Cosmetics, and it's called the Mary Lou-Manizer. Now, my all-time favourite highlighter brush is actually not a highlighter brush. It's this one by The Body Shop, and it's their blush brush. The reason I like it is because it's completely flat and it's tapered, which means that it sits just perfectly on the cheekbones, above here, down the nose, Cupid's bow, and the chin area, and anywhere else that you want to use this. So, like I've said, you want a very light hand. So I'm just going to dip it in ever so slightly, tap it off, and then hit those high points of the cheeks. So it's sitting just above the contour there, and it's bringing this area out. So it's bringing this out, that's sinking in, it's giving me a really nice slimmed down facial structure. I'm putting a little bit just above my eyebrows now. I'm putting a little bit down my nose, because we used a bit of contour here to slim the nose. This is bringing this bit up. You can even use it a little bit just on the end of your nose if you want to lift your nose a little bit. I would say only very lightly with that. Next step is this side. So it's just gorgeous. See as it catches the light there. A little bit above the brows. Cupid's bow. I sometimes like to use my fingers for that step. Just because it gets a little bit more product there, and of course a teeny tiny bit on the chin, and that's it for your highlight. So for pretty much the final product of today's video is going to be a blush. What to know about blush? I think there are definitely certain blushes that suit certain skin tones, however that is not a hard and fast rule. For me, it very much depends on what eye look I'm doing and what I'm putting on my lips. If I'm putting a cooler tones on my eyes and maybe a nice cool pink tone on the lips, I would opt for a cool toned blush to tie it all together. You don't then want to go with something that's really orange if you've gone cool in the other areas of your face. If I'm doing a really nice warm bronzy toned look, I'd opt for something a little bit more on the warm side, more like that. Another really good one is this one by Clinique that I love, and it's in number 20, Bashful Plum. So as you can see, this is a lot warmer. And an example of a cool blush is this one, which I have obviously used a lot, but as you can see, that's a lot cooler in shade. So what I'm going to do today is I'm actually going to go with something that I've been using a lot recently that I love the colour of and I love the effect that it's had. I'm actually going to go in with my bronzer. I've already talked about how warm this is and therefore it works really quite well as a blush. So I'm just going to take a nice clean brush, same brush that I used before. I'm just dabbing it in very lightly because again, it's a balm product, it's very pigmented. And I'm just dabbing that on the apples of my cheeks. Where are the apples of your cheeks? Well, just smile. And it's just there, and you can even take it up a little bit if you want. Again, not neglecting blending this in. I'm just taking that same buffing brush and blending that in. One thing I would say to just be really, really careful of when you're putting on your blush is not to put it too far into your nose, because it's just going to distort the way your face is. When you're naturally flushed, the colour actually starts at the apples of your cheeks and it kind of extends over quite a bit, which is why I like to just pull that colour up. Again, we've got our highlight here, contour there, and your blush should just sort of occupy that space there. Like that. One product that I wanted to show you, I've already showed it in the video, but just talk about it a little bit, is this palette by Urban Decay, and it's their Urban Decay Naked Flushed palette. The reason I wanted to talk about this was this is a really good way to go if you're still unsure as to what shade of blush to get, what shade of highlight to get, how warm should my contour shade be, all of those different questions. What you can do is go on down to Urban Decay if there's a store near you, and what this palette's going to do is it assembles all three, so your contour, highlight and blush all in one, and then it means that it's already there for you. You don't have to think too much about it. They do have 5 different options for this palette, I think, all depending on what your skin tone is, whether you've got lighter skin, darker skin, all of those different things. They've got a palette to suit each skin tone. Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. I hope you've had a really good bank holiday Monday. I've had a pretty relaxed day. I did my housework, I've done a video, so I've done pretty much a little bit of everything. So I really hope that you had a good one, guys. Stay tuned for future videos coming your way this week, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.